Hi, my name is Betty Forrest, and I'm the owner of Eplegaarden along with my family. And we started Eplegaarden back in 1984 when we bought this farm from the Costers, who actually had 30 dairy cows in this barn that we're taking the pictures of right now, our store. And in 85, 86, and 87, we planted 1,000 apple trees each year. We have 3 children. Laverne and I have 3 children. They were in college at the time, high school and college, and they brought their friends along and helped plant those first 3,000 apple trees.
My name is Rami Albaromia. I'm the manager of Eplegaarden. Their idea was to have an orchard where not just a wholesale apple producing farm, but more of what it is today, which is a place where families and friends all come out to the farm to experience picking apples and being on a farm and seeing what a farm looks like, and how it feels to be up in the orchard picking and interacting with your family at the same time, picking raspberries, also pumpkins. More of an experience than just kind of coming to a grocery store and buying apples. So here at the orchard, when you're walking up the troll road, which is kind of the road that goes up the middle of the orchard, you see the old-fashioned big trees, which we still have about 2,500 of, but kind of around the outside of the orchard are also more of those high-density blocks, which now there's about 4,000 trees of those.
In 1993, we had some friends that came over here from Norway. Their names were Ode and Turid Nordhog. And they came from Bergen in Norway and visited us for a week and helped at the orchard and planted some trees and did some other things. And when they were leaving, at the airport, we sat and we named our orchard. So not until 1993 did we name the orchard. We named it Eplegaarden, and that's pronounced Eplegaarden, and it means the apple farm in Norwegian. So it was a great name because people could say the apple farm, or they could say Eplegaarden. Either way, it actually meant the same thing to a lot of people.
When Betty and Vern planted it, they thought about apple freshness being so important and kind of differentiate the apples here from what you get in a grocery store. So there's apples that start with Lodi, say yellow transparent in July, and go all the way through to the end of October. So what we try to do here is always have the freshest stuff coming out of the orchard, either by people going up to the orchard to pick or down here in the shelf. It's always the freshest apples available at that moment, really. And the tastes are always changing. You got something real tart starting, and then like a Lodi, which is more of a pie sauce apple. Then you get to Zestar, sweet tart, great early eating apple. Ginger Gold, more sweet. And the Ginger Gold is a fantastic apple. A lot of people love to get and eat, but it comes in 2 weeks later. I kind of consider it not to be as premium good eating, and we say that's a great apple now for sauce. So that kind of rotation through all the varieties, I think, is really fun, and people appreciate that. They come in and say, what have you got this week? And we can point them to nice, fresh eating apples that are going to be crunchy and crisp and juicy and all the good stuff that you want an apple to be. So from, say, end of May, when you start getting a little apple out there, that apple has to sit out there for June, July, August, September, October. So you're going on about 5 or 6 months that apple is hanging out there in the elements, in the rain, in the heat and the cold, and it's just kind of amazing that that's out there for so long, and then finally by say beginning of October or maybe the middle of October or September, depending when it's ready. You go out there, pick the apple. It's got to get picked. Every apple is picked by hand, brought down in bushel crates. Goes through our sorting process where we look at every single apple and decide whether it's a number one, where it'll go into a number one bag, or maybe it's a second, which makes it good for pies and sauce. And that decision is made there, and then they're put out on the shelf and taken home by people who want to eat them or make pies or sauce. So yeah, so it's, you know, a lettuce plant can be planted and then harvested in, you know, a month or 6 weeks or something. These apples, it's a real long process, and you know, to me it's great. It's a longer term, kind of a longer term commitment for the farmer. When you plant an apple tree, you know, you're committing yourself to at least 25 years of growing apples. So I think that that's a great thing to do, and that's one thing I love about growing apples and other kind of tree fruits like that. The process of getting a nice apple really starts as soon as that last apple is picked off the tree from the season before. We start to think about pruning, and what pruning allows a tree to do is basically allows light and nutrients to get to enough fruit in the tree. So by pruning the tree a certain way, you get that light and air to go through the tree. That makes a nice apple. So we do that in the winter, and that takes us about 5 months in the winter, all through the winter, to prune. It's really a great quiet time for working here. It's you're out there, it's just you and the tree and the cold, and the cold kind of keeps you moving through it so you don't get too cold. And you know, on these beautiful sunny days in winter, when there's a little bit of snow blowing and there's crystally snow flakes all over, you know, you feel like you're the only one outside enjoying that, and everybody else is, you know, tucked inside their cars or houses.
That my husband, Laverne, was in agricultural extension, the agricultural extension service for 35 years. Started out in Minnesota and was a county extension agent in Minnesota. And then in 1968, we came to Madison when he went back to get his advanced degrees. And then he stayed on here and worked in the extension service here. He grew up on a farm in western Minnesota at Granite Falls. And it was an 80-acre farm at that time. And when he was about 10 years old, he and his brother actually did most of the farming because his dad was crippled from rheumatoid arthritis. So he grew up loving to farm. And he, when we got married, said, at some point, I'm going to go back and farm. I don't know if it'll be 10 years or 20 years or 30 years, but I'm going to go back and farm. So after we got married and after he was working with the university, we started thinking about what kind of farming we would like to do. And of course, certain kinds of farming hold you down daily, like you're committed to milking cows twice a day. Well, we didn't want to do that, but we both loved the fall, and we loved being outside, and we enjoyed working with people, and we loved teaching people about God's creation and about nature and what it was like to be a farmer. And especially, we wanted to teach the young children where their food came from. So we have had many school tours that come out here, and we explain to them that they are here at our grocery store, which is a farm, where their food comes from. Last Sunday, we had a celebration of Laverne's life and works. In March, Laverne was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and he passed away in May. And We wanted to do something special at the orchard that he would be a salute to what he had done, because obviously he was the background of starting this orchard along with me and the family. So we have dedicated a what we call Vern's Eplegaarden Wayside up near the apple trees. It's a beautiful big oak tree that has been cleaned out underneath, and there is a bench in his memory and a picnic table, and we hope that everybody that comes to the orchard will take a chance to enjoy that area and remember Laverne.